What's going on, guys? This is my first attempt at making a video. It's going to be kind of weird, and my setup, excuse it. I know reflections from my living room are going to be on display on everything I put in front of the camera. If you're wondering what's holding up my phone right now, which is what I'm using to record, are two Street Shark figures. Big Slamoo and I think Hammerhead, something Shark, is holding it up. You'll have to take my word for it, because if I move the camera, the thing will fall over. Anyways, I wanted to make a short video about disappointing games. I love video games. I love them all, but there are some that just disappointed me a lot. So I'm going to go through 4. I don't know why 4. It just happened to be 4. The 4 games that I'm going to touch on, I bought at launch or at release, whatever you want to call it, and they all disappointed me for various reasons. So in no particular order, let's get it started. Yeah. Number 1, Bioshock 2. You can tell I told you the reflection sucks. But anyways, this game, the first one, it's not a bad game. It is not a bad game by any stretch of the imagination. What happened was here, it was the original, Bioshock One, was just such a phenomenal game with such a great ambiance and a mystique and everything to the setting. You're in this beautiful underwater city of Rapture, and you're meeting all its crazed denizens and blowing them to pieces with all your special abilities. It was just fantastic. The story was great. And so when this was announced, I was like, oh yeah, sign me up. I'm totally game. And as soon as I started, I knew that I was going to be a big daddy as opposed to the series protagonist from before. So I was ready for that. What I wasn't ready for, and I'm not a graphical showcase type of person, was the massive downgrade in visuals. It was just jarring to the point that I was like, did this really get worse? Or did I play Bioshock a long time ago and I don't remember that it didn't look as good as I thought? No, it really was a down hit. The story was nowhere near as good. You're supposed to be playing as Big Daddy, and he's supposed to be the main man, the big guy that destroys everything. No, he was terrible. His armor was made out of paper mache, might as well have been. He had no presence of any room with enemies in it. You could be taken out by the simplest enemies possible. It was just horrendous. And what was cool was, dual wielding, having a gun in one hand or a firearm in one hand and your special abilities in the other. That was really cool. But I think overall it was a letdown. Not a bad game by any means, but and I did beat it. And I enjoyed it, but I had to accept some things. And you can even tell, this game didn't receive much fanfare either. Even on the back, it says sequel to Game of the Year. Not the Game of the Year, sequel to Game of the Year up there. Yeah. Anyways, so that's Bioshock 2. Not a bad game. I still recommend it if you're a fan of the series. But definitely, I think the weakest out of the series, for sure. At least in my opinion. All right. Next up, this guy right here. So, I'm a huge stickler for the Final Fantasy series. I'm a sucker for them. When I was younger, anything that the Squaresoft pooped out, I ate it immediately. And this was one of those instances. I love Final Fantasy VII. It was my introduction to the PS1 era. Final Fantasy VIII, it was a little emo, but I liked it a lot. The graphics I thought were fantastic. The storyline, although convoluted, was great. And then this one came. And much like all the other Final Fantasies of the era, I pre-ordered. So super. The hype train was big. It's big, man. So when this game came out, got it, popped it into the old PS1. And nothing bad with the graphics. Graphics were solid. A little bit of a different art style that I didn't like as much. It was a little cartoony, going from, quote-unquote realistic of 7 and 8 to this more fantasy cartoony type of thing. It didn't really drag me in. I thought the characters were kind of annoying. The main character is Zidane, which is this dude right here. Some kind of American Eagle reject model guy with a monkey tail. It didn't vibe with me at all. All the other characters, they looked like giant bobbleheads. They were malproportioned, and this is from someone that likes Final Fantasy VII on the PS1, and you know how those guys looked. Yeah, this game didn't do it for me. The storyline was okay. I don't want to go into any spoilers on any games here in case you guys haven't checked them out. The storyline is not bad. This game I did not beat. It got to a point that there was a boss that was a little bit much, and he destroyed me, and I felt like, well, I'm not really enjoying the game that much either. And what was one of the deal breakers for me, now that I think on it, was all these games, I've always enjoyed progression through stat building, leveling, grinding, whatever it is. But the way you learned abilities in this game was so obnoxious that it was a big factor in me just letting go. You would equip items, equip hats, armor, boots, whatever, what have you, and they have innate abilities to them. And after every battle, you gain a certain amount of experience in some sort of points for that piece of armor. And when you reached that level, when there's someone mowing outside, doesn't even care this is my first video. Anyways, so you would go about and learn the ability through getting battle points on that piece of armor. So let's say you're level 50,000 and you have the piece of garbage item that you wanted to learn, like something to nullify poison with. Well, that was back in armor pieces that you should have been wearing when you were in level 5. I don't know if I was younger, or this wasn't explained well to me, or I didn't get it, but having to go back and wear a piece of garbage armor to gain an ability was just really stupid, in my opinion. It kind of limited me on the gear I wanted to wear, and I didn't feel like grinding for abilities. It was just aggravating. I didn't enjoy it. One day, maybe I'll go back to it. Maybe I won't. I don't know. The backlog is intense to the point that it's never ending. But yeah, there goes Final Fantasy IX. Once again, if you're a fan of the series, it's not a bad game. You might like it. I personally did not like it for those reasons. But yeah, check it out. This one's pretty big for me. Assassin's Creed Unity. So, I am I was a huge Assassin's Creed fan ever since their first foray of the series into the PlayStation 3 as a launch title with the first Assassin's Creed. I religiously went and kept buying them all the way to Unity. I remember Black Flag is my favorite, which is the one that came right before this, is where you're a pirate. Who doesn't want to be a pirate assassin? I mean, it was amazing. The naval combat, the combat itself, the storyline, the historical, even though as inaccurate as it may be, all the characters inside, it was phenomenal. It was a graphical showcase. It was one of my first games that I got on the PS4. I got the PS4 version of Black Flag, and it was amazing. And this came out, and I had heard negative rumblings. I had heard lots of technical problems, graphical, who knows what's its and mess-ups, and glitches galore. But being a fan of the series and loving the series as much as I did, I went out and had this. This was gifted to me, and I said, I'm gonna try it out. I'm gonna see. Booted up PS4, one of my first PS4 games. Beautiful, beautiful looking game. Storyline seemed okay, but it was just so slow and boring in comparison to all the other Assassin's Creeds, in my opinion. There was literally a mission where I had to walk around the city and pick up like blankets or laundry. There was some kind of plague story in the background. There was a plague going on. You need clean linens. Not very exciting at all. And I just felt like an errand boy. I was running around in this cloak holding these towels and things, and I felt like I was a ball boy for a tennis court game. I don't know what was going on. It was boring. The combat, I felt like a fool. I didn't know what was going on. I think it was a little bit too complex for my own good, at least. I think the older games had an automatic button where you used to hold to automatically counter things, or at least parry. This one didn't. It was all based on reaction. And as I got older, my reactions on some things were just not that great anymore. And I just didn't have the time. I felt at PS4 during launch, as few games as I had, I was playing other bigger and better things. So, is it a terrible game? Honestly, I don't even know enough of it to say that. I didn't give it a fair chance, I think, but it was extremely disappointing right off the rip to be just an errand boy. When he came from being a pirate to an errand boy, it just kind of killed me. It was not a fun time. The main protagonist was unlikable, had none of the charisma of any of the prior Assassins. This one was just kind of a letdown. I'm kind of glad I left the series, honestly, because It turned into a major cash cow of every year, let's pump out another one. And I'm kind of over that. I don't want to be a Viking or an Egyptian pharaoh and then whatever else. I don't want to be Achilles. I'm over it. I'm just done with the series. I just let it lay. It's dead, in my opinion, at least, unless they blow me away with something else. And let's move on to the last game. Tekken 4. This is big. So, anyone that knows me knows that Tekken 3 was one of the gospels of gaming when I was a younger lad. I used to spend countless hours with cousins, my brother, even family members just playing. Obviously, even family members, cousins or family members, so was my brother. But you know what I mean. Besides cousins and brother, people that normally wouldn't play games, like maybe uncles, aunts, they would play that game with me. Tekken 3 was just amazing. That and Metal Gear 1 and Final Fantasy Tactics were probably three of my biggest games I played on PS1. They shaped me as a gamer big time. But Tekken 3 was just phenomenal. It was when there was a gap of, I didn't really follow Street Fighter after Street Fighter 2, which was my thing. Tekken was there to hold up that mantle, and Tekken 3 was just amazing. The graphics were revolutionary for their time. I played through it a billion times. I unlocked everything, basically, except for the Dr. Boskanovich, which was a pain in the ass because of that Tekken Force mode, which sucked ass. But, so, I got the PS2, shiny PS2, kept up with the great franchises. Metal Gear Solid 2, amazing. I started loves for new franchises like Grand Theft Auto 3, amazing game as well. And then this came out, and I was like, well, that's a no-brainer. I am picking that up. That is a #1 purchase for me. Day one, release, got it. This was a major letdown. And I'd be lying if I said I did my research before making this video. I'm kind of just flying by the seat of my pants here. I think there were far less characters in this game. Graphically, it was impressive, but it felt a little soulless and a little dead. The characters just weren't doing it for me. I remember Tekken 3 had a little dinosaur with boxing gloves that was about maybe 2 feet high. He would fart on you. That's awesome. That's what I want. That's what I want in my games. But this just gave me Jin Kazama in a hoodie, and now he's emo, and that's it. They got rid of some classics like Eddie Gordo. The stupid wooden combat dummy Mokujin got replaced by a robot. I know I'm nitpicking. Some characters were brought back, but some were lost. It just didn't feel as in-depth. Or, I don't know, you know, sometimes it's one of those things of, I look back and I have so many fond memories of Tekken 3. So many countless memories, and even to this day, they've held up. Honestly, I can pop that game in and probably have a blast. But this game, I barely have any memories at all. I just remember being disappointed. And it's funny because years later, I would go on and get Tekken Tag Tournament, I think in the last couple of years. And that game is amazing. So it's not like I lost the love for Tekken. This game just didn't cut it. But there's not much more to say about that. That's it, guys. This is my first video. It's a rough draft. I hope you somewhat enjoyed me rambling about this. We'll see how it goes in the future. All right, I hope you enjoyed, and maybe catch you on the next one.